With a flourishing corporation and a stellar reputation, he was the definition of an ideal CEO and businessman. But everything fell apart like a house of cards one day. Peters had committed a silent heist, expanding himself while lying to the world. This man, who committed one of America's largest frauds, demonstrates that not all villains start out with cruel intentions. This is Tom Peters' story. Tom Peters. He displayed an ability for business from his teenage years, beginning with the sale of household goods in his hometown of Minnesota. His intended audience was college undergrads, and he prioritized buying and selling over schoolwork. In the 1980s, he moved to the West with his family to pursue his goals while improving his abilities and business skills. However, he experienced a severe wave of failure in 1990, which forced him to flee back to his hometown. Soon after, he started to rise above to be a tale of rags to riches. In actuality, the beginning and development of a massive fraud scheme. The teenager who loved retail turned into a sophisticated robber who promised investors interest in their money. Let's take a look into how this dark scheme was initiated and how it operated. The success. It all began when Tom grabbed a significant chance. He received a call notifying him that 2 Kmart retail trailers had been abandoned. He swung into action immediately, took custody of the trailers, and opened what he called Peter's Warehouse. In a few years, his fortunes took a sharp turn for the better, and that one warehouse expanded to 12 stores in Minneapolis and North Dakota. It is crucial to highlight Tom's current level of achievement at this time. His stores were bringing in at least $20 million annually. Despite his past experiences, he had discovered success, and there was only forward movement. He did move forward. In 2002, he purchased Fingerhut, a company based in his hometown of St. Cloud, Minnesota. When his company was about to close, he collaborated with another businessman to acquire it. He received praise as a hero for saving the company and providing a source of income for hundreds. But this positive reputation did not last long. A financial institution considered investing in a hedge fund with significant contributions from Tom's company, Peters Group Worldwide. In order to make sure that it was safe, a private investigator was recruited to investigate the business dealings of both companies. But the research quickly revealed the opposite. Tom Peters engaged in fraudulent behavior for more than 10 years, as revealed by investigations. It started with his academic records first. Peters stated that he was a graduate of St. Cloud University in Minnesota, but records indicated that he had only intended to attend for 1 semester, a semester that is clearly insufficient for a graduate. This shocking discovery led the investigator to dig deeper. What he found was beyond staggering: lawsuits. For over a decade, he and his business have been the target of multiple lawsuits from individuals alleging that he had defrauded them. Even worse, he discovered that the businessman was scheduled to serve a jail sentence after being found guilty of a check fraud in Colorado in 1990. There isn't much information available about this, and it appears he managed to hide these documents. Unfortunately, the findings of this investigation were not made public after the company that hired the investigator refused to go ahead with their investments. Tom Peters carried out a large fraud scam for several years, up to 2008. Let's now investigate how it worked and how he was able to attract people around to his point of view continually. Technique. It was accomplished by using a technique called supply chain management or diverting. Peters was excellent at using this technique and had an abundance of expertise in the retail industry. Peters' company purchased products from clearance sales or from stores that were closing and had to sell them at extremely low prices. This meant they could get huge quantities of goods at bargain prices and then ship them to warehouses where they would be stored and sold to retailers at a higher price. In most cases, both partners benefited from the situation. The businessman encouraged multiple investors to pay millions of dollars with his charm and skills. The funds were intended to be utilized for supply chain management operations, but Tom turned selfish and went with the evil side. The warehouses were empty, no sales or purchases were being made, and he stopped purchasing any goods. All he was doing was gathering capital from investors and using it to finance an extravagant way of living. It became nothing more than a huge Ponzi scheme. At $426 million, he purchased Polaroid in 2005. The instant photography company was on the edge of bankruptcy. Many years later, it would be revealed that the company was bought with proceeds from the fraud. Peter wasn't attempting to keep Polaroid alive. He was attempting to save his face. He donated millions of dollars to a number of charitable organizations. Attractive and skilled, he developed into the CEO that everyone adored and desired to work with. Alongside golden days. Following the tragic death of his 21-year-old son in Italy, he founded the John T. Peters Foundation to award scholarships to youngsters desiring to go abroad. He hosts these exotic fundraising programs, some costing as much as $500,000. Many powerful individuals are drawn to him and find his story inspiring and invest their money. He promised investors 20% interest, and the hedge fund investments kept coming in. He continued to create fake documentation to support his claims. By working with a reliable employee, Deanna Coleman, they were able to hide their activities and continue to administer the Peters Group worldwide. By 2007, Tom had acquired well over 100 businesses, and PGW was already generating over $2 billion in sales annually. His reputation was well established, and money kept coming in. Economic downturn. Suddenly, at the end of 2007, there was a significant economic downturn in the United States. There were no new investors coming in at this point, so there was no money going in to pay off the previous investors. In addition, old investors were hungry to get their money back in order to withstand the financial storm that was sweeping the corporate world. As the pressure continued to increase, his long-term employee and confidant, Deanna Coleman, went behind him to save her own head. His charming words had lost the power to influence investors. They wanted to see records and paperwork, but more importantly, they wanted their money back. The end. Coleman turned to her lawyer for assistance because she thought the law would punish them severely. She described everything they had done, including the fraud, scheming, and false paperwork. Deanna had a great deal in 2008. If the case went to court, the maximum sentence that could be imposed on her would be 5 years in prison. She only needed to present all the data and proof required to support that massive Ponzi scheme. This marked the end of the successful billionaire. Finally, however, Tom Peters was arrested on October 3rd. He was found guilty on all 20 counts of money laundering, obstruction of justice, and mail and wire fraud on December 2nd, 2009. He was charged with managing and planning one of the biggest Ponzi schemes in American history, scamming investors of $3.65 billion. He was given a 50-year jail sentence. Deanna Coleman's sentence for her part in the fraud scheme was limited to 1 year. Thanks for tuning in to another eye-opening episode on Capital Crimes, where we uncover the truth behind the dollars and cents. Before you go, fam, remember this: knowledge is power, and action is key. If you're as passionate about uncovering financial wrongdoing as we are, then don't forget to drop a comment below with your thoughts, smash that subscribe button, and share this video with the squad. Together, let's keep exposing the dark side of the financial world and keep chasing the truth.